Hi folks, Mark here for Dalton Drone Zone. As you recall, or might recall, I did a couple of videos a little while back on rebuilding or repairing a Inspire 1, and here it is right here. Since then I have gotten a battery, and the remote, I've actually flown it numerous times. It's actually a blast to fly, and it's really cool to see these legs lift up in the flight position. So I've been having a lot of fun with it. Flies great too. The only thing I've been missing, and that's a crucial part, is the camera. And now we have a camera. It's an X3, it's Zenmuse X3. However, this is a repair video, so we have a broken X3. Stay tuned for a repair video on a Zenmuse X3 gimbal. Alright, let's take this out of here. Let me just start by saying that I've never done this before, and there's very little information online about rebuilding these gimbals for the Inspire and ribbon cable replacements. So was able to dig up some information, but not much. So we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants, so to speak, here while I do this, and hopefully it'll work out for us. So just bear with me if I act like I don't know what I'm doing. It's because I don't. But let's try to figure it out. All right, now we have to remove this piece here. Container to put these screws in. Take the back off here. This one has a letter R inside of it. You can see that on the video or not. I assume it stands for roll. Alright. Take these three screws. Actually, we'll take the ribbons off here first. Ribbon cable, I should say. Pair of tweezers ready here. Notice this is the control unit for the roll arm. It does have an R written down there, so you really can't mix them up. Now we have this nut here. Now we're not going to just go unbolting this nut. This is actually a magnetic nut. I've seen quite a few people just go ahead and take these off, or at least I've heard of quite a few people just go ahead and take these right off And as it turns out, they are magnetic, and if you don't put them on back in the right place, you'll have a non-functioning gimbal. It'll just go jump around like crazy or just not even initialize at all. So we want to see if we can mark this here. Let's see, how should we mark this here? I think we're going to put a mark right about here. You can see where I've marked that in line with this gimbal here. As you turn it, you can see it turns along with that broken roll arm. So if we put it back on in that orientation, we should be fine. We want to make sure we get it pretty much exact. It's a little bit off. Let me mark that. I did notice in here that somebody has written a +2. It looks like a +2 in here. I'm not sure what that means. Somebody from DJI, I guess. From what I've heard, they actually put these nuts on at the factory, and then they go ahead and program it to work. The nut works actually along with the control unit here. It actually measures the magnetic effect. I think they call it Hall effect. And then this is how this determines the position of where the roll, and this has one on the yaw arm also. So you do have to put these back in the right place. That's very important. Okay, that's off. Notice how the washer underneath of it was positioned. It was actually positioned, it's a convex washer, and was positioned with the convex portion up. And there's my mark. So we know which side of the nut it goes up because we already have our mark there. So I'm going to go ahead and take this washer off. And there's another washer underneath of that. So we have two. This one's a bigger, thicker washer. I'm going to go ahead and put this over here. You can see what I mean by that being magnetic right there. Let's see, we need to pull these plastic. It's got a plastic shield here which has to kind of be pried open. There's one. You can see what we have inside here. The cable wraps around. It looks like only once and goes right out. Well, this cable's been yanked on because of the brake. Actually, it was snapped off right back there. And pull this out. This should come right out just like that. This is the new roll arm here. This one I got from F-Stop Labs, and I'll put a link down below. They're not cheap, and they're actually getting hard to find, so another year or so you might not be able to get this at all. think I paid around $90 for it. I transferred the motor housing over to the new roll arm here, and unfortunately during the whole process I forgot to hit the record button on the camera. But what I did was I used my Dremel tool, and using this cutting, actually it's a granular type of a stone, if you want to call it that, and just cut very carefully around. Let's see if I can get you. This is the old piece here, and just cut it in sections, being careful not to go too deep. This is aluminum, and the motor housing is steel, and it's a hard steel, so you feel it, you know, when you get to a point where you might be hitting it, and you just stop. And then once you've got sections cut down, then you can put your screwdriver in and pry it open, and that's how I eventually got it to pop out. It's a pretty tedious process. It's, you know, it's not fun, but this is what you've got to do. And then after I had that piece out, there was still a lot of glue on the piece itself, so I had to take, starting with a wire brush on my Dremel tool, to try to clean some of that glue off, because I couldn't get the piece in. It was just too tight of a fit. So I used the wire brush here, and then try to get the bulk of the glue off, and then after that I used polishing wheel here. These are all done in my Dremel tool. Just like a rubberized polish wheel to get the rest of the glue off and make it nice and polished. And I was able to fit that piece in. It was still a little bit tight. And then once I was sure that I could fit it in, I just put a couple dabs of cement. This is Duco cement. And this was put in on a couple spots on the back side of the motor housing, and on a couple spots on the side. Just not much, just very little is all you need. Then I was able to push it in, and it lines up, if you can see it or not, but in here there's a hole in the motor housing, and it's like a little dimple in the arm. And it will, once you have that dimple lined up in the hole, then you know you have it in proper orientation. And that's what I've got here. So let's move on here. This time I'll hopefully not forget to hit the record button for future segments. Let's see what we can do next here. Now, I'm going to take the back off of this here. This is the pitch motor here. It pops off like that. This has what looks like, I guess this would be P for pitch. So we'll set that aside. So you can see what the controlling electronics look like. Disconnect these cables in here. And you can see you have a P written in there in red, so you know which one that is. In some ways this is a little easier where it broke, because you can see where this is the remaining piece of the old roll arm right here. And all we have to do is take this broken piece off, and this will screw right on. So we looked out there, we don't need to take the magnet or anything off, the nut off here. At least I don't think so. We'll see when it comes to putting the ribbon on. Let's take this broken piece off. And we'll go ahead and we'll do this before we do anything else. I may have to take out the electronics here in order for us to put the ribbon cable on, but we'll see. Like I said, I don't have, there's really no videos online that I was able to find. People just replacing the cable, the ribbon cable. So we're kind of sort of flying blind here. We're just trying to look at it and figure out what needs to be done. Take these two screws out. And that broken piece just falls right out. Throw that away. Now this piece should sit right in there, just like that. We'll go ahead and screw that in. Alright, that's it. Now let's separate these two halves here. If we can get it with our thumbnails. Okay, I finally got this separated here. And we can see the cable, how it wraps around here. So I'll pop it off right here. And it's kind of wrapped around here, and it's not easy to put in because of the way these tabs stick down. Not sure whether we want to remove this pitch motor, we'll see. It's got some sticky tape there. Pull it off. Okay, I have the new cable here. Got this off of eBay. It was actually a local supplier here to the Philadelphia area. Looks like a decent cable. Let's see how we have to put this on here. Take the electronics out at least and we'll see. Okay, what I've had to do is I've had to take the cable back off. You see, it needs to go through the slot here, which I didn't realize when I was assembling everything. So you can't feed this section of cable down through, which is too much to go through. You'll end up damaging the cable, so I had to take it all back out, feed it through from this end. I'm going to try to put it back on here. Like I said, we're kind of winging it here, and it shows. Put this back in the slot here. Oops. Okay. Well, looks like there's no damage to the cable yet, but I'll tell you, really giving it a workout here. Once again, we'll put a little bit of this Loctite on here. We should not have to take this apart again. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Let's put the electronics in here. Alright, let's take a look at this here now. I put these two pieces back on, they just snap on. Then we'll work on the roll arm now. Roll arm motor, I should say. Yeah. You can see how the cable goes here. So we'll take the old cable off. This is where it broke. Pull it off there. Look very carefully at it first. You can pull it up there. Well, it's interesting, you can see how they fold it over right there. They didn't have the luxury of having the full cable to look at when I was doing the pitch arm because it had torn off. This one I can at least see. Let's see, we'll put this on here. Goes on like that, actually. Just wraps around once. Put the cap on. Yeah, let's see how this goes in here. Okay. There. Be careful here. Alright, let's peel off these stickers. Sorry if I get off camera here. I'm doing this, I'm not really paying attention to where I am. Peel this off here. And this gets folded around. Like that. Okay. Okay. You can see how that goes on. You can make sure we get the full range of motion here. the cover back on. Okay. We'll see how that works out. Let's see what we got here on the tablet. Bring up the Go app here. Says we're connected. We should have video here.
The home point has been updated. Please check it on the map.
There's our video. And we'll tilt the camera down, tilt it up. Start the motors.
Take off.
The only problem I see is that the gimbal seems to be tilted a little bit to the right. As you're looking at it, it's actually tilted to the left, but from behind it's tilted to the right. And I haven't been able to figure out how to adjust that. There's really no adjustment I know of. I'm not really going to sweat it, considering everything else works. I'm actually very fortunate. And I just wanted to mention that anytime you have these damaged gimbals and damaged aircraft, but whenever you have an aircraft that crashes and it's so severe that it breaks the gimbal, like this one was, there's always a possibility you will not be successful in replacing, these parts, the ribbon cable and perhaps a roll arm or a pitch arm or whatever, because you could have damage in the electronics also. So this success, what I'm trying to say, success is not 100% guaranteed. It's a pretty hard hit when you can break a roll arm like this. So just be aware of that you may be doing all this work and buying these parts for nothing. The electronics can be damaged on the inside that control the gimbal motors. The electronics within inside the camera pod itself can be damaged. There actually is a short run of ribbon cable inside the camera too that can get damaged. And from what I know, that's not available. You can't get that little piece of ribbon cable. It's about 1.5 to 2 inches long. It can easily be unplugged and taken out, but you can't get it anywhere. It's just not available. You can buy the ribbon cable like what we replaced today, and you can buy the roll arms, and you can even, I don't think you can buy the motors. I don't think you can buy the motors even, but there are only a couple of different parts available, and that would be the roll arm, possibly the yaw arm, and the ribbon cable, and that's it. So if anything else is bad, then you're kind of out of luck. So just be aware of that. You do take a bit of a risk financially and time-wise when you're rebuilding these. This one kind of worked out okay, so I'm really glad. And unfortunately, it's pouring rain out right now, so we're not going to fly it today. But you'll see this aircraft flying in future episodes. All right, folks, that'll take care of this video. I hope you enjoyed the content. I hope it was of some help to somebody. If you do like the content, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. I plan on having some future rebuild projects to put on video, and also do some exploration videos. I'll continue to do that with drone and by ground also, a combination of both. Okay, folks, take care now. Thanks for watching. Until the next video, we'll see you.